Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to the Cope and Seethe podcast with your host, moi, gentMckay. I'm a little bit baffled. There's no comments. You know, you turn up early. It is Mr. Double E. Well spotted. A fan, are you? Yeah, Miss Alicia. I mean, the guy does what? Pro masculinity content, I think. And he's got a girl's name. So that's new. But yeah, we'll get to that later. I've got two of those lined up for Incel My Ride, and I'll be talking about Dry Grasses, which is a Turkish movie. But before you jump off, I think it's quite interesting, but obviously I'll get to that. But I'm kind of wondering if this guy might be the only auteur left, actually. But I'll get to that when we get to it. And I want to talk a bit about A Billion Wicked Thoughts, which is a book about what people search for on the hub, essentially, or just in what kind of porn they're looking for online. It's about 10 years old, so I do think quite a bit of it would have probably changed already, to be honest. But again, we'll get to that when we get to it. And yeah, well, I suppose I'll talk to you motherfuckers. Like, there's only a few of you in. An incel night in since it's raining outside. I'm in the grim north. Well, to be honest, if you're in the north, it's not worth going out for the birds up there anyway, is it, to be honest? I mean, you're not losing either way. So, except I suppose they're up for it. That's a bonus, I suppose. But, you know, a drunk pig would be up for it, so it doesn't really tell you anything, does it? You know, what trying to think of if there was anything I was going to bring up at the beginning. Probably not. Is Hawk in the house? I was going to actually have a little chat with him. I want to know why Hawk lost his job, and to anyone who isn't aware, Hawk is a bit of a urban legend on this stream. He's the king of the incels over here. Never mind Elliot Rodger. It's all about Hawk. And I think we should do a round of bets, actually, as to why he got sacked. Because he got axed from his job, a pretty high position job, as far as I was aware, as a coder. Go figure. But I reckon he got done for sexual harassment. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I bet my money on. I think either that, he acted inappropriately in the office, or he was like following one of the girls, like not with an intention to, like, you know, rape her or whatever, but just trying to get in her good books, and that probably rubbed her the wrong way. Feminism has infiltrated Russia now, so we're fucked. You know, 10 years ago, probably wasn't so much of the case, but you know. Exactly. I think, well, that or a northern bird. At least the drunk pig would be a different experience. I used to watch that guy when I was like 15. Has he been going that long? Fuck it now. I thought reading self-help would sort me right out. Yeah, I just watched a Millennial Thinker video, actually, as I was warming up to this. It's one about manosphere logic. And there wasn't anything, like, fresh in it, really, but it was still quite funny to see some guy just stumble on this kind of Andrew Tate kind of character, and then he starts creating his own content and telling people to drop ship and sign up to his course and hit the gym, bro, and all of this. And then this one guy takes the advice. The only thing he gets out of it is a six pack and, and depression, basically. And yeah, pretty accurate stuff. I mean, well, yeah, it doesn't look like Hawk's here. Maybe he's on a date. He'll be in. He knows I'm usually late, so I reckon he's toying with us. That's what I think. But if anyone wants to have a guess as to why he got axed, I don't think it was anything like just he was laid off. I'm thinking it was something juicy. I'll bring your attention to the holiday fund. It's pretty close, and I will be away next Saturday, I should say. I shall be away. I'll be returning the week after, and dependent on my mood, I don't know, maybe I'll jump on board for a kind of an easy stream. Maybe. I don't know yet. Probably it's 50-50, I'd say. I might just end up doing it Sunday, and if you're good tonight, I might do one Wednesday night, this Wednesday, for a laugh. I am currently working on a review, I'd say it's in depth. It's very in roast of True Detective Night Country, which won't be any surprise to you or some of you out there. But yeah, it's ambitious. It's more more than I imagined it would be. It's at a good place. It's just a bit of a mess at the minute. I've got some sections that I like quite a lot, and got other bits waiting to be kind of edited. So yeah, we'll see. I'm going to hope to get that out next week, but I'm not promising anything. And it's kind of like a somewhat of a comparison to season 1, mainly because the show fucking asked for it all the time. So I've just taken that on board, and I'm just ripping it a new one for I think about 40 minutes. So yeah, that'll be fun. Hopefully I won't take so long as to all of the hype surrounding it will die down, which I think it probably already has anyway. So yeah, we'll just see how it goes. That's a question, Painbow. You know what to do. Let me. I'll thank you for bringing it. I haven't even loaded up the wheel. Shame on me. Fucking hell! I knew I'd missed something. I blame you lot for this. You're trying to fuck me over, aren't you? Subconscious. This is why I shouldn't come on early. I forget shit. So yeah, spin the wheel is waiting, and because it's near the holiday, and I am near the target actually. £5 tonight, £5 for a spin on the wheel. You heard that right. You don't need to check your ears. Put your fucking hearing aids down. £5. I prefer it on PayPal, by the way. PayPal is a lot better. In fact, PayPal only, I'm going to say, because I can't access it if it's on CuckTube until they give it to me in April. Near the late April, where it's meaningless to me, to be honest. So, obviously, I still appreciate it, but yeah, the way it works is PayPal. It goes ping straight in there, like it should do. And yeah, well, you can find the link to that on my channel page and all of that. And probably in the description, I think there's a default for that. But, yeah. Here he is. Hawk. Just the man I wanted to see. Where you been? We were just talking about you. So let me just address this. Why do people from Brighton hate Northerners the most? I rarely get insulted by people from London or Essex, only Brighton. Is it because we are homophobic? I think Brighton folk are a bit up their own arse, and I don't exempt myself from that. I don't know. It's a bit of a bubble down here, and because it's very liberal and green and all of this kind of stuff, it's kind of like I don't think it's really comparable to any other place. Which again sounds like I'm up my own arse, right? But it's a very laid back kind of joint, and basically anyone who lives above is considered northern, when really they're probably from like the Midlands or whatever. So it's hardly fair. But in all honesty, I don't know. I mean, you don't get that many northerners down here, I suppose. But it is very cosmopolitan, so we get to pretend we're all liberal and progressive and shit without having to deal with the reality of it. But I've never really had issue with Northerners apart from Scousers, and they're starting to like warm to me a little bit over the years. I just used to hate the accent, to be honest, but I've started to accept it and sort of like it in a kind of perverted way, but certainly not one that I wouldn't listen to an audiobook in a thick fucking Liverpudlian accent. Let's say that much. But probably same goes for many accents. I don't know. It's a good question. I mean, I know in some parts it probably is quite homophobic. So yeah, I mean, I guess it could be that. But I mean, that's just the kind of cliched go-to excuse, So I don't really buy into that too much. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I am on a street. This is. What do you mean? Why? I want to know why you were fired from your job. That's what the topic of discussion was. I'm gonna keep on this as well, especially when I'm not getting any fucking donations. Yeah, nothing. 15 minutes in. This is a disgrace. A good question is the one you've paid for. That's a good point, actually. I did promise this, didn't I? I promised a couple of spins? Did I not? Don't take advantage. I was drunk. So, I'm pretty sure Painbow and Tustra is, I think you're owed a couple of spins. But I think I might refuse until I can actually warrant loading up the wheel. The wheel doesn't just magically appear. The wheel needs a bit of encouragement, wink, wink, to get going. Otherwise, you can wait till the end. I don't give a shit. So it's your choice. Your choice. Hawk doesn't deserve a spin. What for? Hawk's a bum now. We can forget about him. Hawk, you still haven't answered my question. I want to know. I want to know what sexual harassment you were guilty of to get you sacked. That's what I want to know. What you did. I mean, we've been taking bets here. Are you still talking about Alicia Long? We'll get to him later. He's a character, I'll give him that. I remember when he used to make vids next to a chalkboard, basically doing spark notes of 48 Laws of Power based. Then about 6 months later, what did I say? He ran out of content ideas and be like, guys, have you heard of this book? Legend. I'm looking forward to him already. You're warming. You're teasing me. Cheers, brother. Could have left a tip, but you know, I'm I mean, I'm complimented. If well, I thought it was decent. I think the vid. I mean, the current one I'm working on is probably the roastiest vid I've ever done, but it's fun, and yeah, I can already sense, I can feel it these days when I'm doing something that's just gonna have problems with fucking YouTube. Like there's so many savage jokes in it, and I'm just like, but contextually speaking, they make sense. They're good, you know. They're not actually making jokes about fucking rape or suicide. Like they are, but they're kind of more, the reason the joke works isn't because of the topic or the subject matter, you know. And I don't know, I shouldn't have to explain this, but maybe we'll be all right. I'll give YouTube its due. At times, it seems totally fine, and then other times it gets all uppity about a fucking nipple being shown or whatever. So I don't really know what. You know, what I'm supposed to do. You can't fucking balance it because there aren't really any guidelines. They'll just tell you like, oh, you can't have this. Can't have what? What part? What are you talking about? You know? To be honest, that's just a guess at the moment. I don't actually know how long it'll be. I know there is a segment that's about 7 minutes. 7 minutes of pure gold. And we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. A £2 suit. Am I supposed to? No more than £2. I mean, you don't get a spin for £2. You were here when I was explaining this, right? Yeah, she makes a good point. Hawky boy. Why don't you go inside and stop shivering? Stop hanging around outside my girlfriend's flat, you fucking weirdo. Fucking go home. Right, well, I'm going to get onto I'll do the boring shit first. So let's talk about some movies and books. Before I go on to that, I'm watching True Detective Season 2 at the minute. It's actually quite good overall. I think it's kind of weird watching it again. But this time around, I've kind of gone in without much memory of what was in it. And it does have a lot of issues. I can't deny it. Especially like the opening 3 or 4 eps. Like it's a bit convoluted and whatnot. But it's fucking ambitious. And it really... It deviates so much from the first season, which is why I think it was so slated. Because people were probably expecting it to have a pretty similar vibe. And it does, but it's in a really subtle type of way where it's like it's deceptive and it's hard to notice at times. But the sense of like trauma in each character is actually very palpable. And I think Colin Farrell and Rachel McAdams are actually fantastic in it. I even quite like Vince Vaughn, even though he's a bit one-dimensional at the beginning at least, but he grows into his role very well. And the other guy, I can't remember, the Chad Homo dude, who I don't think I've seen in anything else. Yeah, it's definitely nowhere near season 1, but at the same time, it kind of stands on its own as it's, you know, a story that I think is worth telling overall, and deals with some pretty dark, fucked up situations. And it definitely has its own feel, much like the first season where it was all kind of abandoned schools and churches and in the middle of these very swampy kind of areas, and really set this kind of tone of a whole city essentially being forgotten and whatnot. And whereas this one, it's set up in a kind of Vinci, it's called, which is basically LA, but it's very GTA. Like, it kind of reminds me of that world. And I like how desaturated it is and all this kind of stuff. And the music's good. You know, there's a lot going for it. I mean, if you watch fucking Night Country and then that, the difference is insane. Like, it's... yeah, I haven't got much else to say on it, and it's certainly not something I'm going to prop up too much. I might give season 3 another go, because it has been a number of years. And I think this is because I'm so fucking... I'll admit, I'm fucking furious about Night Country. If it wasn't obvious enough, like, I really feel like it's... I mean, look how they massacred my boy. I mean, I know quite a few of you haven't even bothered watching it, but if you do actually take the time to hate watch it, like I have, you're just amazed. Like, what have they done? They've really, like... It's not True Detective for one thing, but the fact that it has the name attached to it and it's got so many symbols and whatnot that directly take from it, it's a disgrace. Like, absolute fucking disgrace. Like, it's no wonder Pizzolatto was like posting all the bogus reviews of it and whatnot, because it's probably the only comeuppance he can get from seeing this tosh. Like, it's literally like watching your own mother being raped, kind of thing. That's how I feel. Having been exposed to the fucking show. Yeah, I think Rachel McAdams is really good in season 2. Like, if you want a fucking girl boss kind of type of character, she's great. Like, she's very composed, rational. You believe her as a cop, but you also see that vulnerability in her as well. And it's just like, oh yeah, they've actually like have a balanced, nuanced fucking character. Oh my god. Like, it's so refreshing to see, like, oh yeah, she isn't just like going around beating people up without any consequence. Like, there's actually like a morality that she lives by, and you know, she's dealing with her own issues and history that is really you know, if this affected any of the characters in Night Country, they would have all committed suicide before 14, you know? Like, yeah. Way more balls. That's what I would say. But I love Colin Farrell's story as well. I think it's like one of the harshest kind of positions as a man, especially to imagine like your wife gets raped and then has a child where you're not sure and you're pretty sure it's not yours, and then how you would feel about that happening. I mean, that's one of the like types of scenarios you never want to really imagine, obviously, but it's like one where you don't really know how you'd react, and I think you empathize with him quite a lot, because he's a wreck. He ruins his marriage because of it, but he also seeks his own vengeance and things like that. And I think all of the choices he makes are very understandable, actually. And yeah, maybe that's where it went wrong in a sense, because it was shooting so high and so into territory that a lot of people will just be put off by having the mere thought of it put into their heads, you know. So yeah, the odd parts are probably the little one-liners at times. They're a little bit jarring, but I kind of think they've got a bit of charm to them, because it's almost like they're trying to be a bit Russ Cole, but in their own type of way. So it's like they're kind of quippier, and at times they catch you off guard. But when Colin Farrell's talking to the guy who gets arrested for the sexual assault, and he's just like, he's telling him he's basically just gonna rip his fucking life apart and tear his skin off with a cheese grater and shit, and it's really like, fucking hell. But it's great. Okay, we're simping for fucking British chicks. Kelly Riley. Alright, we need to have an investigation here. I hate it when people say British women are hot. Alright, Patrick, you're about to get embarrassed, son. Okay, let's have a look. Oh, the one who's in... You like your older women then, do you? Fair enough. I didn't actually know she was British. It doesn't surprise... I don't think she's like conventionally attractive, but she's very sensual. I'll give you that. So I'll hold up my hand to this one. But I'm wondering if it's because of her ample bosom that you're attracted to her, which is on display a fair amount during the show. But yeah, she's got something. She's got a bit of sass to her, but I wouldn't say she's like obviously, you know, a banger, or however you want to term it. But yeah, well, even a blind squirrel occasionally finds a fucking acorn. It's a good point. It's a good point. That's what we've established here. That Patrick wants to fuck his mother. Right, well, I'm going to start... Okay, Hawk. Hawk said something. I left my job. You left your job? What do you mean? For the last, like, few weeks, you've been saying, oh, I lost my job. That implies you got canned, my friend. Sacked. Fired. I think this is bullshit. I left my job because that company used to work with outdated tech. It's a fucking hell. It was all right in the beginning, but after a year and a half working there, made me lose my marbles. So it's not sexual harassment. Something soft. You've changed your story. If I was interviewing you, or interrogating you, I'd come down hard on that shit. Yeah, exactly. Any excuse. Actually, where are the donations coming in? Because nothing. You are aware that I'm due a holiday like in a week, right? I thought this was going to be a celebration. Yet you're all bitter. Still waiting for my free spin. Well, you'll be waiting a while. I might actually make you wait until after the holiday, because I'm that much of a prick, you know. Anyway, I'll talk movies first, because I don't actually have too much to say about this one. If any of you are interested, I probably enjoyed Winter Sleep a bit more, which is another film by this director. I'm not even gonna... Nuri Ceylan. I don't know how to say this name. I apologise, but yeah, from what I've gathered, a lot of his films are very in depth. 3-hour kind of long hauls. But there is something very hypnotic about the way he puts them together. They're pretty relaxing to watch in a sense, even though a lot of the topics are, yeah, they're pretty deep. I mean, I suppose overall they're very philosophical or political at times. They deal with some pretty tricky situations, as About Dry Grasses does. More so, I'd say, than Winter Sleep. But Winter Sleep felt a bit more controlled and had a better idea of what it was going to. But these are very minute kind of differences. I just think maybe it was because it was my first exposure to his work, and that has stuck with me a bit more. I did enjoy this one quite a bit. I was a little bit tired when I watched it, so yeah, a 3 hour, 20-minute film is a lot to ask when you're fucking knackered, basically. I think I watched it last Sunday, which was after streaming and drinking and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, the basic premise is that this teacher returns home from being in service, military service, I believe, and because that's like a mandatory requirement in Turkey, and he starts teaching. He teaches mainly like 14, 15-year-olds in this very small place. It's kind of like a middle of nowhere kind of area, somewhere where when it's winter, it's fucking winter for 6 months, and then suddenly it's summer, basically. So there aren't really any in between seasons, and the kind of tagline or synopsis to this would be to do with the girl on the poster there, because she and her friend kind of report him and one of his friends for being inappropriate, and it kind of feels like it's going to go down this avenue to do with paedophilia or whatever. But I kind of felt like that was a bit of a red herring. It is there, but it's certainly not a predominant feature of the movie. And if I won't spoil it too much, but I would actually say it was a bit more about perspective overall, and especially towards the end. And by the end, I kind of mean the last hour or so. And I thought the main guy was an interesting kind of dude. Like he definitely feels himself to be somewhat superior, but he's a selfish guy, and he would prefer to remain somewhat indifferent to the things going on. So there are a kind of political leaning of the film, or at least that's embodied by one of the older female characters. And the way the guy kind of interacts with her will depend on what he's really after. It's almost like, because he kind of sets his friend up with her, and then as soon as that starts happening, he suddenly has an interest in her as well. And it's suddenly, yeah, you kind of feel like, is he doing this because he feels a bit out of control because of the school he's working in? It's all kept a bit hush hush over what students have said what, and all of this kind of stuff, and it feels almost kind of Kafkaesque, because it's dealing with the problem, but it's also kind of passing the buck, and it's not really in any serious fashion. And then the tensions that arise because of that are they're affecting to the characters, especially our main guy, and it kind of just flows through in that kind of sense, I would say. So there's some great scenes where there's just really nice kind of dialogue driven and thought provoking kind of scenes, which are probably the standout of the film, I would say, overall. I did think the girl situation was quite intriguing. It set that up quite nicely, because you kind of felt like, oh, will that be something he's going to get, fucked over for, because he's being a bit too friendly with the little Lolitas or whatever. But yeah, it definitely brought that kind of issue up, but I almost felt like it went away from it at the same time. But it did also look at it in a sense where it felt more realistic in a way, where it might have just been about, a teenage girl's first crush and her disappointment of reality, kind of, and seeing him for what he truly is rather than this conjured image, which leads further into the idea of like how people see each other and how isolating that can be, and how doesn't really matter, what conclusions you come to, because your own perspective will be flawed and will alter and things like that. So it becomes quite artistic, let's say. And I enjoyed it quite a lot for that. I definitely say it's worth your time, but it's almost, I mean, I alluded to this earlier, but the ideas and concepts and themes and whatnot, you don't see this in films nowadays, especially ones that are actually made around this time. Like, I think this guy's a bit of a one-off. I mean, maybe there's some Iranian directors out there, or from wherever, like just quite unique ones that I just haven't heard of. But to get the budget that he's getting and get the go-ahead to make films that are this long, I mean, he must have a lot of credo to do that, because I can't imagine any other movie production company, like, he's basically getting like all of the budget to make what he wants. Not that it's over the top in terms of the requirements of the film, but the fact that he's got carte blanche to make a 3-hour 20-minute film, where that just wouldn't happen, especially like in America or whatever, unless it's Scorsese. But it was more intriguing to see something that was actually quite existential and pretty philosophical in its outlook. I would say Winter Sleep's better, but that is also based off of a Chekhov play, at least loosely, if not more than I realised. And he does have a Chekhovian kind of way of bringing topics up, and their kind of depressing element, the fact that a lot of the people are quite unhappy in his films, or at least the two that I've seen. And there's a lot of difficulty with finances, political, tensions, sexuality, men and women in general, the workplace. Like, it brings a lot of questions into light, and how people deal with their issues. And it's very poignant, I would say, but at the same time kind of odd to see in this climate. But this might be coming off the back of watching Night Country. So I haven't seen this one. I think that might have been one of his first, but a lot of it might even be based in Anatolia, but I'm not entirely sure. But I think that's where he's from, so a lot of the films are. Okay, this is interesting to me. I've watched the first hour of Poor Things. Some Lolita vibes. Emma Stone's character has the brain of a baby in an adult's body. Lots of sex scenes too. Why did you stop watching it then? Did you come so hard that you passed out? I'm a bit surprised by this, because I kept hearing it's got feminist vibes. But maybe that's in the latter. I'll put it on the list. I'm aware of the film, of course. I mean, I think a lot of people are. They did an American remake of it, didn't they? With Nick Cage, maybe, and Meg Ryan. But I don't think that one's very good. I'm just surprised he only watched an hour of it. What happened? How long is the film? 2 hours? I think we need a spin. Right? Spinny time. You see what's going on here. You lot are fucking boring tonight, I swear. City of Angels. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Poor Things encourages Hollywood paedophilia. Overrated movie. This is the first time I've heard about the pedo shit. Is it paedophilic? Or is it more that she's like a sex doll? Good question. All right, Painbow, your spin's coming up. Let's do this. Boom. You got to double your last donation, my friend. Congratulations. I think the last one was 25. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me check. I'll check for you because I'm, you know, a nice dude like that. Let's have a look. It was a while ago now. A whole week. Obviously, people are just spending, you know, sending me money all the time. Yeah, 25. Holiday time, baby. It's Tooster in the house. $50. Well, that I mean that would get me close to the magic 500. Hey, this isn't the Vorsh stream. Thank you very much. There'll be no lolicon featured here. Have I seen hardcore? No, I haven't. Good. Hardcore. I haven't really been watching much in the way of films of late. In all, I'll be watching a few more soonish, I suppose. Where am I going? Fucking hell. I think you need another job, mate, because I don't know what's happening. Where do you think I'm going? I don't want to let you down. I'm not coming to Russia just yet. Plenty of horse. We love a bit of horse dong. Hawk, you haven't donated for ages, mate. Can you? What's your situation then? Are you have you gone full incel? Are you a neat now? Is that what's happened? Are you in your parents' basement? I've got to keep an eye on my emails, folk. There's nothing happening. Crickets over here. Someone's blowing smoke up my arse. And not in a good way. Can you ask yourself this whenever you fancy asking a question? I think it could save us a lot of time. You're very quiet these days. It's almost like you don't want to have a conversation. You are a NEET. So you quit your job. You quit your job to be a bum. In fairness, I can kind of respect that. But, I mean, what's the plan? What are you going to do then? Because you want to be careful, you know? Especially in today's environment. Like, you could be in this situation for a long time. There's a lot of questions. Is Zarathustra in here? Where are you, son? I'm going to start talking about gay people. Okay? Exactly. He quit his job because they didn't have the right tech. Something sus about his answer. I think we're all in agreement here. Something stinks, Hawk. Right, yeah, these are just some anecdotal kind of thoughts on the piece. I thought that it was quite intriguing. I'm just going to see. I think I did save a little anecdote. So on, because when reading this, apparently there's a strong correlation between what straight guys look at porn wise and what gay guys look at porn wise, and one of the highest search things, or at least like sought after things, not necessarily through search, but because it's just like, it's either, you know, you want to see some titties, which is like the first thing, some asses, the female figure in general, but also dicks. Like, guys want to see the dick, and obviously gay guys want to see the dick as well. And so in terms of like what turns men on sexually is all to do with the visual, you know. But a lot of gay guys actually are really into watching straight guys getting fucked, basically. So there's a big market for, never mind the real gay shit. They actually just want to see straight guys getting pooned. So you've got gayforpay.com and all this kind of stuff. So it's quite a high search thing. Who knew they were pretty perverted? But yeah, so this one guy who actually goes on Craigslist and whatnot to find married straight guys. So he says, one of my favourite things is when married straight guys I work with say they want to see what it's like to be with a guy, but don't want anybody to find out. They figure I'm a safe way to try it out. They usually get drunk first, then I fuck them. Sometimes they start crying like a girl. They say, oh, this was a huge mistake. But it's always been fun for me. And I loved how that's phrased. It's great. And yeah, interesting fact. Gay dudes are more well hung than straight guys, according to this book, or according to the research. Not by too much, but in general, they're a little bit bigger. And they don't really know why. They think it might be something to do with the androgen mixed with the testosterone, but that's just kind of a theory. They're not quite sure. But the other interesting part is because apparently the biggest dudes who are of the homosexual persuasion don't actually put their cock to use. They're not putting their monster they're not thrusting away because a lot of them prefer to be bottoms. If you're not familiar with the phrasing, a top is the guy pooning the ass, and then the ass is the bottom. So the guys with the biggest dongs don't even use their dongs. Selfish men, I guess. Am I right, ladies? And yeah, they want to be fucked by well, other guys. Unless they're straight. If they're straight, they'll become a bottom or a top. Sorry. But some pretty intriguing stuff. I think you'll agree. And yeah, it's a good book. I'm about halfway through it. I'm finding some of it fascinating. Some of it's a little bit obvious in terms of like, oh yeah, well, when it talks about women being more into like literary erotica and all that kind of stuff, it's like, go figure. I mean, but that might be just because I know that anyway, so it's not any news to me. Some of it's somewhat intriguing. There is a kind of part that mentions something about how a woman can be turned on physically but repulsed psychologically, and I'm not really sure what I make of this, in all honesty. I kind of feel like it could be bullshit to be honest, mainly because I feel like you can still be somewhat shocked or even repulsed psychologically but still turned on. It doesn't mean necessarily that there's a separation that needs to happen. I think this might be a female bullshit kind of button, to be honest, because I'm just like, I fail to see much of a difference. And I suppose the major one would be the fact that, you have to get blood pumping to actually get an erection. But as I'm sure all of us could attest to, you can get an erection through pretty random fucking moments when you're not even thinking about it, which I would imagine is similar for women, in terms of being lubricated down below, and essentially being ready for sex. But a woman can not be wet and still kind of be ready for sex. If it'd be somewhat painful at the beginning, I suppose, but you know what I'm saying. Whereas if you're not hard, then you're going to have a bit of a tough time doing anything about it. So maybe that's the major difference. I'm not sure. I do feel, I feel like it's interesting, and it's like, typical women not knowing what they really want and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I feel like there needs to be more research done into that, personally, because I'm not sure in how that can factually be the case, But maybe I'm just sucking on lemons or something. I can see it definitely being. I mean, maybe this is actually more down to like your own nature being against you. It's like, and I think there might be a slight correlation with like what happens when guys lose it and fucking see red and just go ape on the woman instead, because it might just be you're kind of blinded by it in the same way that you could become wet, and ready for sex even if you don't actually want it, mainly because your own nature doesn't give a fuck about you, basically, which is a difficult thing to swallow. That's what she said. But I think it's more to do with that, potentially. I don't know. I mean, these kind of theories don't actually get brought up very often in many texts. Sexual personae kind of does, in places at least. Like, it can kind of acknowledge some of the metaphorical or psychological impacts it has on men and women in terms of how nature in essence is trying to perpetuate itself. It doesn't actually care about the species it's perpetuating, especially not about how they feel or how they look at the situation. And I think looking at what's going on within the trans community, especially when it comes to transitioning and being horrified by testosterone and whatnot, is also supportive of it, essentially, because you're basically disgusted by nature, nothing to do with, I mean, in some instances, yeah, of being a man, but also I'd imagine the same way of being a woman when you start, to ovulate or whatever. Yeah, these are all things that are just part of you. You don't have a choice, really. And I think this would be the same for the heteronormative amongst us. But yeah, I mean, if that kind of thing sounds like your bag, um, I'm sure you'd enjoy it. It's a very easy read. I think it might rely a little bit too much on, anecdotal tidbits from people on fucking Craigslist or Match.com or whatever. I'm not really sure how much credit they should be given, but they are part of this massive kind of survey that they put together, and it's intriguing. I'd be very intrigued to see a follow up to it, actually, to see what people are actually looking at right now, because I would bet money, big money, that it's changed a lot. And I would be more fascinated to see what the psychology of, say, OnlyFans subscribers is. I mean, they kind of allude to this when it talks about amateur porn being very popular, and the reason being that it's authentic, bro. That kind of stuff. I think, I would imagine there's some sort of crossover there, but big difference when it comes to actually paying for what, a couple of photos or whatever types of videos, having a conversation over a chat bot. But yeah, also I find that more interesting because things move so quickly now that I would say some information that you got, or that we have at our disposal from 10, even maybe 5 years ago, could be somewhat redundant now, just in terms of, especially like when it comes to online culture or how people are interacting with that. I actually think we're in a bit of a plateau at the moment, when it comes to, men and women, feminism, the manosphere. Like, it's all got a bit banal, and it seems to be, we're kind of waiting for the next thing. But then once you've had like your Andrew Tates, after your Jordan Petersons, and all of that kind of stuff, like I don't really know where that's going to end up, if anywhere. If it's not just going to keep repeating cyclically, but just being a different variation of the same thing for a while. I really don't know. I also feel the same when it comes to AI and chat GPT nonsense. Like, it had its little moment, and I'm sure it's being used and facilitated, but it's garbage. And until it actually is in a position where you can't detect it, it's like you can feel it when it's there. It's similar to like if someone's had plastic surgery or whatever, like especially excessive plastic surgery, you can just tell, But that's just my 2 cents on the matter. Straight guys sometimes have a thing for lesbian girls. Have you met real lesbian girls? I think straight guys have a thing for lesbian porn girls. Although, no, I do know what you mean. I do know what you mean a little bit. In the more tomboyish but still feminine, yeah, like Chasing Amy kind of stuff. Although Chasing Amy was a bit like, really? What? She's a lesbian? Okay, whatever. But let me check. I think I'm getting catfish for these donations. Oh no, I'm not. You donate a $5 and leave a fucking message, hope she's worth it. I'm not sure if I should be insulted or she should. She's more than worth it, thank you. But yeah, cheers. That's not double, motherfucker. You've disobeyed the wheel. And you're trying to get a free spin. Zarathustra, it's your turn. Same here. Same here. At least one's from Brighton. I actually don't. I think lesbians get away with way too much. By the way, this is a subject I might actually have to bring up at some point in a proper video. They get away with fucking murder. Like gay guys in general, they might be a bit. You know, if you're in Brighton and you're out and about on, I mean, I'm talking years ago here. But if you came across a gay dude in a group, especially if there's a chick around, he'd have no reserve about just touching your ass or whatever. Speaking from experience, I'm a chilled guy. As long as he's not going for my balls, he can have a little grope in my ass. I don't really care. Like if it's all in good fun and whatnot, but still, it is inappropriate. Because if I was doing that to any chick, like I'm gonna get slapped or fucking have pepper sprayed or whatever. So there is a level, I would say, where I feel like gay dudes and lesbians especially get away with fucking murder because of their sexual orientation, and probably never more so than now. And most lesbians that I've met are just shitty fucking people overall. Just bitter, angry. Like, they're basically incels. Even if they're getting laid, you know? And maybe it's just because they hate men. I'm not sure. Or hate me, if in my own experience. But yeah, I've yet to come. I think I've come across one who I thought was nice. You know, who I thought was like, oh, okay, yeah, she's cool, or whatever. A little bit standoffish, but still had her own way of being and seemed to have a mind of her own. Whereas ones in the past, I've kind of thought they act just like aggressive macho dudes when it comes to like pursuing a girl or whatever. You know, they invade people's space. They kind of love bomb with gifts and whatnot. They basically coerce through aggressive niceness, I would say. And I think that's a dubious trait to have, personally. Obviously not with everyone. It can be a genuine thing. But from what I've seen, it's suspicious. Well, the funny, yeah, I mean, I saw something to do with this. It's almost become the reverse now. So you're like, if you don't want to transition, if you're a guy or girl, you're now transphobic instead of being homophobic or something. So it's like, it's kind of reversed. So instead of someone being in the closet or whatever and not wanting to come out because they don't want to transition, that makes them more transphobic because they don't want to go that way, even though what it's more to do with is their sexual orientation rather than yeah, or sexuality rather, instead of what they want to be known as gender wise or whatever, which is interesting. But you know, it all just goes around in circles. I might be getting that slightly wrong, to be honest, in my wordage, but it's in that ballpark, you know. I'm starting to understand your dwarf fantasy. I mean, it sounds like you married one. Yeah, there is it alludes to that in the book. It doesn't quite go that far, but it mentions how, yeah, they can become very aroused and in cases come to orgasm and whatnot. But I would probably say that, the orgasm. Nah, I don't know. I was kind of thinking like it's easier as a dude to reach it, but no, I don't actually think that's true overall. It kind of is, but I don't know. That would be a pretty fascinating topic to go into, and one that I probably won't be able to do on YouTube. But I'm not actually reading these kind of books in general. I think there's a glaring obviousness as to what is not, like what data is there. Like I was thinking, like there must be a major shift, basically because of the pill in women's psychology in general. And I've kind of written a bit about this, but only in my kind of anecdotal thoughts and whatnot. But I would be fascinated to know, but I really doubt that there's any data on such a thing, because pharmaceutical companies wouldn't want it because they know it does affect a woman in terms of how she feels, especially, well, not only emotionally or psychologically, but physically. There's a whole multitude of aspects there, which are all so varied. It would be very difficult to get data on. Plus, like, it doesn't behoove them to get it. All they want to know is if it stops pregnancy. And I think it might have been Mary Harrington who said it, but or I saw it on a thumbnail. But she was posing that was arguably the first instance of a kind of transhumanism, essentially, by you're stopping your own nature from doing something. And yeah, I mean, it's, you can't really disagree with that overall. I mean, and I'd be very fascinated to know what effect that would have. I mean, I suppose in some ways it would be very difficult to even compare it to anything because it's never happened before, and I still think the ramifications of that are in their very early stages. And because a woman can go on and off it just becomes something you can do. But to imagine that it doesn't have some sort of effect on you in at least a kind of, what, long-term decade kind of form, depending on how long you're on it, then it depends on how it affects your hormones. I mean, it's very, very interesting. All right, how are you owed 2 spins, motherfucker? For one thing, you disobeyed the wheel. And you've already had a spin. The double or nothing doesn't mean donate again and you get 2 spins. You're trying to fuck me. All I've had is a fiver so far. I've been streaming for like, what, an hour? It's almost like you guys don't want me to go on holiday. I mean, I'm wounded over here. I'm wounded. Well, in the book, I mean, some of you probably know this anyway, but when a woman is in her ovulation period, that's when she's most likely to cheat on you. Which is good to know, isn't it? It's a lovely, comforting thought, that one. And that's mainly because during those times, the alpha kind of dude is going to be seen as more attractive. It's all about those genetically superior individuals. But yeah, that's when you need to be your most vigilant, gentlemen. All right, I need to refill, and I need to actually get onto some of the other sections, I think. Painbow, I think you're due one spin, but I think Zarathustra's first, if he's here. I'm not sure if he is. I'm going on. See this bit here, Danny boy. Holiday fund, my friend. Am I fucking a vulnerable subscriber? Is that the way you're going to phrase it? In a word, yes. So this is GC's rape fund. That'll get your attention. The taxes on vaping and tobacco are going up. Does the Pope shit in the woods, my friend? Vaping is still pretty cheap. I got 20 of these fucking things for like 13 quid. I can't even get a pouch of tobacco for that. So it's cheap enough for me. No, if anyone's intrigued, you're funding, you know, a romantic get-together between a man and a woman who want to see each other very much. You know? That's the best way I can put it, to be honest. And when I come back, that holiday fund's going to double because it gets more expensive around fucking spring. Or summer, actually. All right, let's do some spins. Nice, he got it. He got it. All right, Zarathustra, you're up first, mate. Unbuckle your pants. Let's do this. Oh, you've won you can choose a prize for the wheel. That's actually quite a lucrative prize. Congratulations. Now, it's got to be within reason. You know, you're a sensible guy. What do you want to go in the on the wheel? Yeah, I was actually kind of thinking that. I might do that at some point. Only because I kind of did it accidentally. Because I've got some here that I just don't like the taste of. But I noticed if you put a little bit in there and mix it in, it's not too bad. You'll have to ask Anya. You know. Ending the stream. You want me to just end the stream? It's a risky one to have in there. I mean, I don't care. Yeah. We can have it in there. Hawk, what are you bitching about? You haven't donated for fucking weeks. Sitting there on your iPhone in the middle of the street. Is that what you want in? End the stream. Notice how the recommendation is for a prize. For the wheel. Even if I do this, you're not going to know unless I record it or something. Well, I don't understand why you all want to see me on the fucking bike. It'd be 5 minutes of the most boring shit. It's there, for one thing. I can't bring it closer. What do you want me to do? 5 minutes on the bike. Try again. I'll give you one more go. Use your imagination. You'll know. You'll sense it in the psychosphere. It'll be there. Oh yeah. Okay. I mean, of all the fucking things, I mean, maybe I need to be more specific here when it comes to the wheel. No, if you give me one that is reasonable, I mean, I'm not opposed to the end the stream one, but well, as many a lady has once said, it would be rather anticlimactic. Unless she's getting raped, apparently, according to this chat. So what'd it be? What'd it be, son? I've got to spin for fucking Painbow and his cheapskate fucking donation. So or I'm just going to jump on an incel at this minute. That sounded weird, but GC tells a joke. I mean, I could work with that, you know. Maybe. I'm not sure it would please many people. No, you're stupid, son. You got to consider. Respect the wheel. That's all I'm saying. No, that's already. It's a good suggestion, but that's already in there, I believe. Let me check. I'm sure faith. Yeah, faith ratings up here. You were 2 off it on the left. I mean, well, I'm going to go for a piss. You probably can't. I'm not sure you can hear me. Thought I was gone, didn't you? Where were we? I would be fine with sending a text or email to someone and you can determine what I put in it to a certain extent. These donations, shocking tonight. I'm fuming. I'm coping and seething. I'm running out of wine as well. Fucking hell. I have to move on to the incels. Get this shit over with, and then I'm gonna fuck off. Right. Have we got Painbow's got another spin, right? I feel like you're kind of suggesting things that are already on the wheel. See, look, it's there. It's next to, it's at the bottom toward the right. 2 to the right. 5 mins with GC live on stream. That's just how well I know you lot, you know. Better hurry up because the chance is going. Well, that's because you don't donate enough. That's all I can say, you know. You know, if you want a chance to win these prizes, you got to fucking Put your money where your mouth is, you know. Right, Painbow, I hope you're watching because this is it. All right. One shot of vodka. Well, I need to have vodka for one thing. I'd be fine with doing it. But if I don't have any vodka, then what am I going to do? Buy me the bottle of vodka and it will be sitting up there awaiting. But you'll donate for the cheapest one. Alright. Works for me. Alright, let me fix the wheel. I always forget which fucking... Okay, I need to select blah blah blah. What I'll put is GC does a shot of liquor, just to cover our bases, you know. All right, here we go. It's on there. Well, yeah, that's trusting I don't fucking give it a little sip off stream, but I'll do my best. Oh, hello. Hello, Alison. That's an unusual spelling. I'm going to say that you're a dude. Well, Alison, thank you very much. I'm going to do Painbows first because I know he's gonna bitch. But we're going to do two, and then we're going to incel it up. All right? Because I usually save my last glass of wine until after the stream. But I don't know. I know. Alison, is this your spelling of it then? We'll get onto that later. Painbow, here you go. Boom. Oh, you've won. Well, actually, it's a good thing that you've won that again because you've run out of time. You won this last week, if my memory serves. But once the week's gone, if you haven't emailed me, it's game over, son. Game over. So let me know what you want. As long as you let me know within the week, it will happen. I don't know when it will happen, but you have won. And I feel like you're kind of disappointed when you win. So if you want to call it quits, I'm happy with that. And in fact, because you didn't, I mean, really, you were supposed to double your donation, not just throw a fiver into it. So I think we can call it quits there, personally speaking, because you're 20 quid short. Yeah, but it means I have to give you an address. Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Well, I don't know what we can do about that, to be honest. I mean, you work, don't you? But yeah, I mean, that's fine. I think we're even Steven, you know. Because you owe me 20 quid, and if you take this prize, that's going to cost me 20 quid. So it's all good. To be honest, I don't really know, looking back. I think because I felt like I wasn't getting anywhere on this platform because I was reviewing books and they started to annoy me, so I removed them all. Um, I'm reconsidering this currently. Not that I don't really want to put up the old ones because they're fucking old, and yeah, maybe I can do better reviews. Um, not likely, but just fucking tell them to read it. I mean, you can't convince people to read books. That's the thing. So, I mean, it's not a long book. Orwell is a great writer. Just get it for them. Maybe you can't force that shit. Hey, Daddy is here, motherfucker. You can't go making suggestions over who gets to be sent shit and all of that. I'm not. That's not the game we're playing here. Thank you very much. You, shut the fuck up. Fucking chimes in with his little comments. I like that video. Maybe I just need to just leave them out there, you know? Anyway, Alison, it's your turn. It's your turn if you're still here with us. Spinny time. I will consider the whole suggestion thing, but I've got a holiday to go to, and I'm getting dick all in the donations tonight, so I've got to update what I've got so far. But I can't be buying bottles of fucking liquor for people at this stage. So you're gonna have to wait either way. If I'm feeling, generous or whatever. In fact, I'd prefer it if you just picked a book, to be honest, but Right, so we're at 4:30. I mean, I thought we'd be closer to the magical number at this point, but Okay, Alison, this is for you. Oh, it's I'll give this. So I'm gonna slap my own face. I don't actually remember putting this one on here, and I'm sure it was because some of you fuckers suggested it. So, would you like it with the left hand or the right hand? If you can't read it, it said, I will slap my own face. This is Alison's choice. I mean, why would anyone want to see this face slapped? That's the real question here. Oh, the women are chiming in. The book reviews were the only videos I watched. Well, you should watch the other ones. They're just as good as the book reviews. The left. I'm not left-handed, so fine by me. Okay, here it comes. I might do this more often. Congratulations on your winning. I can still feel it. I don't know whether you can see this. Probably not. But okay, maybe maybe that could be a good suggestion then. A book review on the wheel. I will have to limit the time, and they will be slightly different because I can fucking edit. Like, I know I know there aren't a lot of examples of this, but I would like to make different types of vids with it. So yeah, that's where we're at. I think it's Incel My Ride time. And in fairness, Danielle, you're watching this, and this ain't a fucking book review. So somebody's lying here. Oh yeah, I should have known it was yours. Alright, let's do this. I'm running out of booze. So the first, Alicia Long. Let's get it and do this guy first. Now this is a real man. Take note. What? You're super chatting me. I've fucking stated how often the super chats aren't. Obviously they're appreciated, but I did get in touch, and I can I'll send you a link. It's an unlisted review, but yeah. To be honest, it's not. I know it's not. It's not a bad review. I don't think it's all right. The PayPal, you should know where the PayPal link is, son. It should be in the description. If it's not, it's on my homepage. But yeah, I'll spin you anyway, because you know. Quick spin. We'll move on. Hopefully this will just be a nice old finger job. That's what she said. You can give me a compliment, you lucky bastard. I'll wait. I will wait. I thought it was in the stream description. It should be. This is YouTube trying to fuck me. I believe that was his first novel, and one that I've yet to read. Be happy to read it. In fact, I probably will. I've read most of his novels, I think. Still waiting for my compliment, but we'll move on. We'll move on. Wait, your super chat message. Oh, is it possible to make the wheel spin for a little longer? No. When I can, I'll try to update the wheel. It was actually a lot more difficult to find something, which I was surprised by. I thought I could find, you know, an easy one that I could customize and shit, and that wasn't the case, unfortunately. And yeah, I'd like to have a better wheel as well. Actually, Hawk, you're good with coding. Help a brother out, you know. Yeah, that will be looked into, because I would prefer a more well, eventful. I'd prefer one to be just on screen, you know, to pop up, fucking Jeopardy style or whatever. You dirty tease. Anyway, what kind of wheel? Well, yeah, the one that's on the thing. One that's on the thing, but hopefully won't need a background, that I can just have, and it has like the proper spin kind of feel in a game show, where it's like that kind of shit. But obviously it needs to be random. Wink, wink. And I need to be able to like update it on the stream, which probably will be tricky. Yeah, but maybe that's possible. I don't know.
There's a lot of these videos coming out of guys in their 20s, maybe 30s, saying how they're virgins, they don't have any friends, they're anxious, depressed, no path in sight, right? No job. And it's sad, all right? It is really sad, because there's something we can do about this. And I see in the comments that a lot of people relate to these guys, like, oh man, you're so brave, thank you, I feel the exact same way, I have sympathy. We got to stop having sympathy. We got to start doing something about this. This is an epidemic. Men are facing a war right now, right? You can say it's a spiritual war. It's a war against masculinity, just being who, you know, having an identity as a man. And when men fall, what else falls? Family falls, community falls. Children don't have a strong father to raise them up. They don't have someone to lead them. Why?
Tyler Durden 2.0.
Get annoyed because they don't have a strong man in the house. Someone they can depend on, that can help calm their anxiety. So it's up to us, man. There's no more excuses. So what do we do about this? Well, first off, I think that the world tries to domesticate men. And I think there are consequences for this when you make a man who is likened to a wolf live like a house dog. Live chained up inside, caged in, and away from his very nature. Now, all of us have a nature. We have a masculine nature inside of us.
He is aware that most wolves are a pack animal. They live in a tribe. Is that what he's alluding to? Maybe. I'm not sure. I'm going to calm this down. I should be alright. Yeah, a wolf. Well, they live in the packs. They're a pack animal. Maybe that's what he's... I mean, it's a very odd metaphor or simile to make, because to say wolf and then say domesticated fucking animal, e.g. dog, there's not a lot of leeway there. But I know what he means. Okay, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But it kind of sounds like bollocks so far.
And we're violent. We are aggressive. We have testosterone. Civilization, modern day, has sort of tampered this down. But you don't want to lose it entirely. It's okay to be civilized. It's okay to be a person that is a civilian who pays their taxes, who is a good man in their community. But what you don't want to lose is that thumos, that spiritedness, the nature that
What community, I would ask first, but all right, I'll go with this.
you have inside of you. There's many consequences for this when you don't acknowledge that nature inside of you, and you try to do stuff that goes against your very nature, which is live a life that's easy, comfortable, free from any adversity, free from any conflict and competition. When you have everything provided to you in easy living and, paycheck, the golden handcuffs coming in. This is when you seem like you got your stuff, but why am I unhappy? And so why are so many men unhappy these days? And why is it that so many men...
You gotta kind of love this video when he doesn't have a white picket fence, but he basically does. He's got a pretty sweet situation going on here. Assuming this is his crib. It might not be, but yeah. He looks pretty happy in his domesticated environment.
And actually struggle with their identities. Who am I? Who am I? Is the cry of the modern man. Who am I? Where do I belong? Where's my tribe? What am I here to do? I believe that this only arises because we have been domesticated. We are not living according to our nature. The moment that you begin to rewild yourself, you begin to act according to your nature and integrate that into your life, that's when things start making sense and you stop thinking so much. You actually start living more, and then life just makes sense. Things start clicking. So you can't think yourself out of it. You actually have to rewild yourself. I believe that every man is wild at heart. God has given us a spirit that is wild. Masculinity is wild. It's kind of calm, but it's also like aggressive. It is capable of...
I feel like he's trying to talk me into having anal sex with him a little bit. This is kind of I can imagine this would... You need to... you need to realign with your wild animal. Never mind society. Just bend over. Bend over there. Spread those cheeks. Just take it. Take it like a man. I kind of... aside from that, I kind of feel... I know what he's talking about. But what's the end goal here? So you need to rewild yourself. To what end? That just sounds like embracing chaos and violence and destruction and all that kind of stuff. Alright, but hardly sounds like a productive thing to do in the long run. Yeah, it would make you feel more alive. I don't know.
Destruction and conquering and achieving. And that's in every single one of us. So we have to reclaim that. What do? First off, lift weights. Lift weights, okay? This was...
You imagine the cavemen. What do? Oh, pick up a rock. How is that channeling into your fucking wild animal? There's no animal on the planet that starts lifting shit to feel more animal or more in touch with his spiritual nature. Whoa! I'm gonna pick up that rock. No horse would fucking wield luggage or carriages or whatever if they had a choice. It's because they were forced into doing it because they realised, the fucking weird white whatever two-legged creature will feed me if I just move. And I can do that because I've got a lot of muscle. The fuck is he talking about?
Strengthen the body and fortify you with the capacity to handle the chaos of life. All right, lift.
Hell yeah, lift. I'm intrigued. I work out, but I don't see the lifting thing. What's that doing? What is that doing?
Freaking weights. Train your body, become strong. The second thing is play. This will help you not take yourself too seriously. All right, life is about action, and you can't always second guess yourself. You know, nothing in nature thinks like we do. The grass grows, the trees grow, the sun comes out, sets, flowers blossom. There's no thinking occurring. It's just growing. It's moving. Action, momentum. You are the only one who thinks so much, and you rely solely on your thoughts. And this shows up in a weak body and a weak spirit. You put too much emphasis on thoughts. We should stop believing every single thought we have.
And fucking little boys, I believe. Maybe.
Don't need to think as much as we do. Stop valuing your thoughts so much and start moving, start acting. That is such a big key for men these days because they have so much noise from YouTube and people telling them this and that, and science telling them the exact way to do certain things, and stop thinking.
I mean, in a way, I do know what he's saying. Thinking too much. Thinking never got anyone anywhere. So, there's a kind of truth to it. I mean, I think his suggestions are retarded, but at the same time, not so much. You know, there's nothing wrong with lifting or whatever, but I found it more amusing that was his first suggestion as to like oppose this feminization of men. It's like the first thing you need to do is start lifting. It's like, okay. Maybe as a first step. I mean, Jordan Peterson said clean your fucking room. I think lifting is a better suggestion, in fairness, but it hardly addresses the issues that were brought up.
Action. You have no right. You can't afford to second guess yourself all the time. You can't afford it. You can't worry about what people think. You must put energy out. Energy must flow from you. It can't be stuck up here in your head. Nothing's going to happen. Okay? The next thing is eat. Eat fat. Eat protein.
I totally agree.
This right here is going to boost your testosterone. It's going to give you the muscles. It's going to help you lose excess body fat and not be a tub of lard. You're going to move better. You're going to think better because your mind is clear and not filled with all these chemicals and sugar and processed foods. So these are just a few ways, and you can go more. You could do more things, man. You can compete. You know, I compete in jiu-jitsu competitions. I competed all my life. Played sports growing up, baseball, football. You know, freaking skateboarder. Did everything, man. Like being competitive is a part of you. It's a part of man wants to play.
It's an extension of lifting, really, if you think about it. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I do think these are good things to do. I would actually recommend a team sport over lifting, mainly because at least you can potentially get some sort of socialization and camaraderie and whatnot. But it depends on your own disposition as a dude. If you prefer being by yourself or whatever, then yeah, maybe the gym, maybe just working out in your own room or whatever, probably be better for you. But yeah, I mean, they're not bad suggestions. I'm not going to shit on them for that, but they're pretty minimal. I mean, the outside world isn't going to notice. You know, it's not going to take much heed. And maybe that's not the point he's trying to make, in fairness. I agree with him on the food. Totally. Fat, protein, best way to go. Little bit of carbs, but minimize that shit. If you can afford to. The problem is yeah, most people are on a plant or grain-based kind of diet because it's cheaper. But that food is trash, mostly. So I would try and get as much animal fat and protein into it as you can, or as is viable to do so, depending on how much you're actually exerting energy as well. I wouldn't go too overboard if you're not actually doing shit, but Yeah, they're not bad suggestions. I'm not really sure how they're going to change much, but maybe within your own spirit, let's say.
Compete with other men and individuals. Find a way to compete in your life. Find a way to rewild yourself, to get out there in the fight. Walk around freaking barefoot in the yard. Get sun. Lift steel. Drink enough freaking water and hydrate yourself. Stop drinking soda and popping all this other bullshit. Get in nature, get around brothers. That's why in the Hythemos Brotherhood we have these meetups, because it's so important. That's why we have our voice chats, because it's so important for you to connect with other like-minded individuals who are on the same exact path as you, pushing you forward. Without that, you sort of start to lose your edge and you feel isolated and alone, which then you believe your own bullshit. All right, so rewild yourself, man. There's a very sick, pernicious mindset that we have to address that is occupying the thought form in a lot of men. And it is this of self-pity and self-doubt. You have to rid yourself of these things. I have no friends. I have no girlfriend. I'm ugly. Get a fucking haircut, dude. Get a freaking haircut. Go trim your toenails and your nails. Clean the little dirt out and take a shower,
bro.
all right? Lose some weight. You should be exercising. Take care of the temple. When did it become okay not to take care of your temple? The one vehicle that you have driving you through this life. You do those things, things start to get better. But then let's address the mindset.
I mean, yeah, there's a part of me that agrees with what he's saying, but it's like he says, like he prompts it as a kind of like, when did it become okay not to do this? And I agree. I don't think it's okay not to do that, but I don't think it's really going to change much either. It might give you a certain amount of discipline or self-respect, and those aren't to be discredited. Those are good things to have, and probably should have been ingrained in you from a decent father figure, but most of us didn't have that, so that's fine. But in terms of it changing your outside environment that much, yeah, minimal at best. Sadly, the world around you isn't going to change worth shit, basically. But maybe if you actually try to utilize these newfound skills, it's possible. Maybe, I don't know.
Friends, listen, a friend is one letter away from fiend. You don't need a bunch of friends, dude. All right, you don't need a bunch of friends. What I've realized is when you're at a low point in your life and you meet friends who are also in a similar state in their life, crabs in a bucket. You're trying to climb out, they pull you down, or you just lose your ambition entirely and you become another crab that pulls the other crabs down. You lose your motivation, you lose your thumos. These aren't your brothers, these are fiends. These are other people in your life that don't care. They care about having fun and just escaping the mundane. Not having to put in any work, not having to rise up and scoop the freaking nuts and be better than they are. But, these guys will keep you down. You don't need a bunch of friends. Have one friend, have two friends. Have a brotherhood of people that actually you don't maybe know too well, but you see that they're inspired, they're living their life, and they're setting a good example for you. All right? Friends are overrated. The next thing is, I don't have a woman, I'm a virgin.
Okay, I mean, I don't really know how to address that, because it would depend on what your own personality type is, your own upbringing, your own community, your own socialization in general. So I think one person's one friend can equal another person's five. Like, it's very dependent on the person's perspective. Like, I'm sure there's plenty of incel types who would look on this and they've got 5 other friends, and yeah, maybe they are crabs in the bucket, as he said. But I don't know. How do you know when they're really the ones bringing you down, or you're just part of that because that's just a moment that you're in? It's these types of metaphors are a bit sneaky, I would say, because they basically compare you to a crustacean or a very non-thinking entity, which isn't really the case for us. That's the thing. It's like those kind of comparisons they don't work. Like, I think they have their merit, and they are good metaphorically, but yeah, what you're supposed to just leave them all behind? They're the ones bringing you down, really? What? It's There's no reason that you didn't fall into that in the first place. Why can't you be the person to try and actually inspire it? And then, yeah, if you try to do good, or try to move forward in whatever capacity that might be, and that isn't reciprocated, then fine, then fuck it, leave them behind. But a lot of the time, when you leave it all behind, you're the one who will be ostracized, and you have to prepare yourself for that, I guess.
Don't deserve the woman that you desire. And let me tell you this right now. The moment that you get a girl while you're in this sad boy state, the moment you start getting laid and you have sex, what you're going to do is become a weirdo. You're going to focus all your energy on this woman, on keeping her around, that you will begin to shut away other aspects that are more important. You begin to turn your eyes off of God and the path that is before you in life. You start focusing on the woman. The woman will begin to resent you almost immediately, and it will show up in how her attitude towards you. She'll begin to disrespect you. She won't hold you in she won't take pride in you. You'll just kind of be there, and you will be licking her boots. You'll become a weirdo, I'm telling you, because you don't have anything really to keep her around other than you giving her constant attention and energy. When you don't need to be some high value male that gets thrown around all the time. You just need to focus on your life. You need to become stronger, and you need to get out of this sad state. You need to get your mind right. That way you're focused on bigger things that have more merit, not just the woman. Because if you get rewarded in your poor state,
it's all it's all a massive cope. That's what it always. A lot of this stuff. That's what it pretty much always boils down to. I'm not even like riffing on the guy's notion here. There is a kind of truth to it, but it would involve him or you actually being to go, fuck it, yeah, you're right. I'll just do what I want to do, and that's about all that really matters. That's what living your life is. It's a very basic answer, and it's not one that is very easy to do, because assuming you actually want to involve yourself with other people, it's inevitable that you're going to come up to difficulties, and life has a habit of just sucking you into scenarios and bringing out about sides of you that you aren't aware of, or haven't been exposed to, even yourself, because you don't know what's going to happen there. It gets easier as you get older and whatnot, but watching this dude, I don't know his fucking life story and whatnot, but I will judge it based on the situation he seems to be in, and it seems a very comfortable one, a very domesticated one, actually, because maybe he earned that. I would say it's pretty fucking unlikely, but maybe, and kudos to him if that's the case. But in general, you kind of really have to know your social station. You have to know what's realistic for you as a man, especially, but even as a woman, I think it stands to reason. If you don't have money in the bank and you don't have parents that are going to help you out, then you basically know you're fucked. But at least you know you're fucked, and that is a standpoint to go from. Anything else that comes from that is mostly going to be luck, but you can delude yourself into thinking that you earned it through some sort of merit if you want, and there might be a slight truth to that. You know, you've got to, he who dares wins and all that kind of stuff. You've got to take a risk, but most of the time the world isn't going to notice. That's that's the fucking real black pill of things. So you go on the internet and, or you flick on the TV, those are the people at the top. Those are the survivorship bias, basically. Those are the people who will preach to you about this. Oh, you just need to do this, that, and the other. You don't need to do fucking anything. You just need to sort your own shit out. And you're not going to find that from a therapist or a YouTube video or reading a self-help book. Those things might guide you, but they're not going to help in the longer scheme of things. You need to know who you fucking are and then go from there. That's it. It's very simple.
Keep you in that poor state. Okay, so this is a sick mindset that a lot of guys have, and we need to snap out of it. Your ancestors, guys, were running around fighting wars, trying to, they were running around their little underwear, loincloth, and killing wild buffalo and jaguars, bringing it home for the family. Finally, we have some meat. Let's make a fire. Let's, rest our heads for the night. Meanwhile, we're over here complaining about our no-fap streaks, worrying about dumb shit, crying over some girl that never texted us back, and swiping on Tinder, taking away our drive to actually, and that essence, that primal essence to get out there and freaking try. Like you're over here bitching and moaning. You have no right to be doing this. Your mindset has been corrupted. Do you not realize that your mindset has been corrupted? You think that all your thoughts are valuable. Where do the thoughts come from? All of the shows you've watched, all the music you've listened to, all of the things that have been inputting themselves, that you've let come into your mind, have ingrained themselves and twisted the spirit inside of your head and the thought form that occupies your mind. And yet you have the audacity to trust every little thing that you think and think that you are smarter than other people and you have it worse off than everyone else. BS. You have to try, man. You have to rise up now and start trying. You have to realize these thoughts are not true. A lot of them are lies, and you shouldn't be paying attention to them. You have to do something starting today. That's why I say rewild yourself. Get out there and start taking action. Stop thinking so much. Don't believe every thought that's in your head. It's not necessary. So pay attention to what you let inside your head. Pay attention to the things you listen to, things you watch. Don't allow yourself to fall into sin, into degeneracy, things that corrupt your spirit, things that tilt you and lead you off of this path. Don't allow it. Don't let it to become normal. Don't make it okay. This is the war we face, man. And other people are looking up to you. You have to stop sympathizing and complaining and having self-pity. You have to get over this sick, perverted mindset. You have to stand for something stronger. Keep your eyes on God. There is a better future in store for you if you just stand up right freaking now and try. All right? Guys, I hope this message resonated with you. There's always hope. There's always a way out. Don't let the darkness seep in. Don't let it creep in. Do something about it. Find the light, because we have to be the light. All right? We eventually have to become the light. And that's thumos. That's spiritedness. And that's what we're doing in the High Thumos Brotherhood. You guys want to talk to me, you want to join the other men all around the globe, and you come and talk with us in the High Thumos Brotherhood, all right? And I'll see you guys in there. Let's freaking crush it. Have a great summer. Peace.
Yeah, I'm pumped. Well, that's sad. That's sad. Yeah, I mean, I think that he's got the right idea to an extent, but I don't know. It's all channeling in on this lack of a father figure, essentially. I think doing this most of the time, it kind of exposes you to. I mean, we just live in a very atomized, lonely world now, and it's very easy to be duped because human beings in general have a tendency toward the delusional. And I'm being, you know, mild in that assumption. They want an answer, and there's the hero's journey. A lot of what he was going on about, it sounds like the hero's journey, you know. And then nowadays you'll see more things about a main character syndrome and all that kind of stuff. This is nothing new. I think everyone's felt that, essentially. But the internet in general kind of refocuses it as the be all and end all, because it's a very isolated world. So everyone's their own god. And there's little wonder why people struggle with that, because everyone knows deep down that they're not. And if they don't, they're mentally ill. So, yeah, it's a difficult thing to kind of grasp, I suppose. Touch grass, if that helps. But now we're going to get onto a guy that I think will be more relatable.
Hey guys, I want to talk about why I'm an incel. Um, I
This is Hawk, by the way. He asked me not to say this straight away, but I thought, you know, to be brave and for you lot to know, we can just go with it.
dream about being in a relationship and, having sex, but I can't because I have mental illness, and my mental illness prevents me from being able to be in a relationship and have sex. And I can't be in a
Wait.
relationship because
Mental illness never stopped anyone having sex. You trust me.
I don't have the social ability to communicate effectively with the opposite gender. Like I'm not a good person who can I'm not good at socializing. I'm not good at socializing, and I'm not good at back and forth conversations. And so that's why
You got some
I
nice tech there,
can't
Hawk.
get into a
Some nice tech. Never mind that you live in a hamster cage. You got some nice tech there, brother.
relationship. Um, and people say, why don't you just work on yourself? Why don't you work on the things that you're missing? Why don't you work on your problems? And if you desire a relationship so much, then wouldn't you work on your problems? See, that's the problem. I'm also lazy. I'm also lazy. I'm also lazy, and I'm anxious. I have anxiety. I have generalized anxiety, I think. Generalized anxiety disorder. I'm anxious about everything. I'm anxious about driving a car. I'm anxious about being outside. I have persecution complex. I'm scared. I have scared disorder.
I haven't heard of scared disorder before. Wait, I need to address this. Is the agenda of these live streams to mock fans who pay you? You haven't paid, so... But... I wouldn't say it's an agenda. I feel like most of the people watching need it. So... I'm trying to bring back humor into the world. It's fucking taking things so seriously. Chill the fuck out. But yeah, you're on the right. You're in the ballpark.
It's all mental illness. It's all mental illness that makes me an incel or forever alone. And I suffer. Life is suffering because I'm a human. I'm a human and I desire companionship. I desire friendships too. Friendships and companionship, I desire them because I'm only human. But I can't get them. I can't attain friendships or even I can't attain relationships or even friendships because I have anhedonia, I have social anxiety, I have depression, I have schizophrenia, I have sometimes I have lethargy.
Giving me schizophrenia spinning around in your fucking cage of a room. Your environment won't help, especially if you're just. I mean, it feels to me he's just twisting around the whole time, which, admittedly, I can't see anywhere else you're going to go, but it's not going to help.
I have persecution complex. I have stage fright. I have all kinds of problems, and so I can't. And so I have to suffer. I suffer. I have to suffer from my problems. And I have difficulty reading too. I have my intelligence or IQ isn't very good. And I
You
have
don't seem to have trouble reading up about mental illnesses.
difficulty reading. I have comprehension issues. I have a hard time reading. When I read books, I have a hard time comprehending the words. And so that's also a trait that no one likes. No one likes someone who can't read. No one likes
Look around you, dude. No one's reading.
me because I can't read. I mean, I can read, but I can't read complicated. I can't comprehend complicated sentences. And so I have to suffer. Life is suffering. There are a lot of people like me who have mental illness, who can't do a lot of things, and they have to suffer. I have to suffer, they have to suffer. Life is suffering for us. Life is suffering for incel and forever alones. It's unfair. It's unfair for us. Like, why do we have to suffer? What the hell is the point? Why do natalists who are selfish and think that life is good for them get to have children? We have to suffer. Why do natalists think that life is good and they have children and then their children suffer because they have mental illness? Like, why is this? Why is it like this? Isn't it unfair? Don't you think this is unfair and suffering? Well, but then they'll argue that, well, it's might makes right. It's might makes right. It's survival of the fittest. That the strongest decide what goes on in the world. Might makes right. That the strongest decide what happens and they make decisions. The strongest make decisions of everything. Like, if you're strong and the unborn is weak, if the living person is strong and the unborn is weak because they can't control they have no consent. There's no consent because a person who gives birth to a child, the child is weak because it can't give consent because it has no intelligence, and so it's just the way it is, I guess.
I feel like he's getting a little bit mumbled in what he's trying to convey, because no one has consent to being born, right? I mean, did I get lost in what he was saying? I'm not sure, but
It's unfair. It's just unfair, and I don't know what to say. Uh, whatever. Thank you for listening to my rant, and bye.
you're welcome. I'm sure he had a song in the background there, or some sort of music that made me feel a little bit unnerved, I suppose. I don't know. But yeah, the spinning thing didn't help. I mean, I was deliberately looking away from that because it was just, I felt like that was almost embodying somebody being, like the previous guy said, in a way, like too much in their own thoughts. Like if you're just always around your own environment without anything to do, and just going, essentially literally going around in circles, not not usually in the literal sense, but psychologically, then yeah, that will make things difficult. The way he illustrated his points, he sounded pretty concise, self-aware, all of that kind of thing. And the funnier thing, at least for me now, I mean, I don't know how seriously to take these kind of things, because if you've got the cognition to put on a camera and spin around like a bottle top whilst concisely iterating your points, then I don't know, you seem to be in a fairly decent frame of mind. Like it kind of rings of bullshit overall. I'm sure it kind of, it's not, at least through your perspective, but it's almost like you're not seeing how you can take control of it, even when what you're supposedly, confessing or whatever is the opposite. I don't know. It's somewhat confusing. Yeah, that's it. That's it for the evening. I mean, unless we want to spin that fucking wheel, which apparently we don't. The wheel. I mean, I'm not going to lie. This has been very disappointing. I mean, a disgrace, actually, I'd say. I'd go as far as a disgrace. But, it is what it is. It is what it is. And I'm all out of fucking... I'm all out of love. I'm all out of wine, is actually what I'm going to say. Dry spin this motherfucker. Spin that. No, I think we could find something potentially amongst all of this mess in general. I'm probably just as deluded as everyone else, but that's the name of the game. The name of the game is delusion, and trying to find it on the pixelated highways is, yeah, a lot of the. And the problem with the first guy is the nature fallacy. Like, oh yeah, just get into the wild, bro. You can't really do that. You can go to a park, or if you've got the money, maybe a safari where you just drive through. I mean, that's not. I mean, this fantasy that you can go back to some sort of, point of nature. I mean, I think a lot of the time people are fantasizing over warfare more than they are nature. In times of like the hunter-gatherer era, it's not like they were like, oh yeah, we need to go out and go to war. It was just part of life, you know. It was kill or be killed and whatnot. And there is an element of that in today's world, of course, but it's much more in the psychological realm. And it doesn't really equate. Like, it serves for a neat metaphor, sure. But to say, oh, you just go touch grass or whatever, it's benign at best, you know. It's got some sort of suggestion. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to do, but these are things that you should probably ingratiate into your life anyway, just to even just to take a break from screens, you know, just be out there a bit more. But the problem is most people are constantly on their phones or their screens. It's like it's basically proposing a way of living that is already defunct and obsolete. It's like, yeah, you'll get something out of it. Go to the beach and walk around, and it'll be like, oh yeah, this is nice, you know. But then do that 2, 3, 4, 5 times. It'll be boring as fuck. So you've got to learn to try and just deal with it in a sense. And I would say probably the best thing to do is try and come up or adhere to your own way of living, essentially, which is the only thing any man or woman has ever had to do anyway. It's like whether that's believing in a higher power or a set of moral values or whatever. If you can honestly stick to that, that's a commendable thing to do. Good luck, because I don't think the human brain is actually designed to really do that. I mean, it's a good thing to go for, sure. Go for it. As a more conservative type of person, I think that is a better thing to do. But it's fucking not easy, especially when you have biological impulses that totally contradict what you want to do. But again, a lot of these issues that are brought up are from the dawn of time, essentially. Like, these are the types of things that you have to try and confront. And you can try and learn from your own experiences, but then that will put a bias on it. That will make you... Yeah. If you can ever truly have a objective viewpoint on things, I mean, you have achieved God's status, essentially, because that's not going to happen. I think the best thing to do is try and accept not only who you are, but what you are, and yeah, make the necessary and available alterations that you can. Because, you know, like when you see people, like a load of immigrants will land on, and there'll be people going, oh, you know, they shouldn't be allowed in. But from an immigrant's perspective, it's like, well, I don't want to die, so I'm going to take the risk of going across the oceans, or, you know, basically just strapping myself to a truck just to kind of get into a new environment where I'm not going to get bombed or potentially kidnapped or whatever. You know, it's all about knowing what your situation is and going from there. I don't know whether that's going to make you happier. If that's your goal, I think that's going to fuck you over anyway. It's more trying to create some sort of stability out of the madness, I suppose. And if you fail, well, it doesn't really matter, because before long you'll be dead anyway. So anyway, I think that's going to be my cue. Oh, hold the phone. Hold the phone. We've got a spin. Spin time. Could be the last one. The last one of the evening. This stream has gone on too long, by the way. But whatever. D flat. This one's for you. You've got a free bit of dating advice. You lucky bastard. Feel free to take your time on this, because I think we've run out of juice for the evening, you know. But yeah, I'm your man. You need me to help you out. It doesn't need to be dating. It can be marital advice, whatever, you know. I'm your therapist for 10 minutes, basically. But well, I mean, I think that's it. I'm going to give it 3 minutes. Two minutes. The wheel is a begging. Don't think it's going to happen, but you know. Whatever. Visas. If you're not aware, it's it's a little bit difficult for certain places, you know. And you don't need any visa for Turkey, baby. That's it. Well, you gotta assess it, take your time. And ask, just let me know when the question is there. Or I'll give you advice in general, if you want. No, you retards don't read. At the moment, Russia is in war, so a lot of countries won't let Russian citizens enter. That's one thing. Turkey is one of the places where that's actually okay, so makes it easier to go to. If I want to go to Russia, which is possible, I still have to get a visa, and it's a lot more complicated. If you really need to know this shit, you know, it's not like we have some weird affiliation with fucking Istanbul. This is what we can address. We can address this when it's needed to be addressed. The stream is done. It's been a pleasure, as always. I'll see you soon, I suppose. I'm not exactly sure when. But, well, I know you're going to miss me, so until next time. That's all I can really say, I suppose. Maybe I'll be back soonish. Let's see. Let's see how it goes. Keep yourselves busy now. And yeah, well, the next one will be probably in a couple of weeks, I guess. You know, go and play some poker or whatever you like to do. You don't have to feel guilty for not seeing the GC McKay stream. So I'll see you soon. Take it easy. And yeah, try not to die. I'm still, I mean, I haven't met this, have I? It's you lot are a disgrace. But well, here we are. Until next time, motherfuckers.